All right, well, first thing, thank you. I now do live here in Atlanta, and I'll tell you, you guys, the weather is finally cooperating. And if you were here about 3 weeks ago, the freeway that you've been taking up and down collapsed. So this is the famous 85 bridge that for about 6 weeks was burned down, and literally the freeway collapsed. So the good news is you guys got some good weather at least now, and you're able to travel on our beautiful freeways. All the rumors of Atlanta traffic clearly overplayed. So much like dating, when you talk about traffic and weather to start a presentation, it's not always your best foot forward. So let's get started. So the future is here. It's just not evenly distributed. What I want to talk about today is distributing that a little bit more evenly. We work, DMD works with physicians. So all the marketing and everything that's happening on the consumer side, we want to apply that to the physician side. It's as easy as sliced bread, which is a setup, because does anybody know the story of sliced bread? I'm going to tell you the story. I know there's one person here because I actually stole this from someone. I think it's pretty brilliant. We think of that phrase, easy as sliced bread. And the story of sliced bread is actually Otto Rohrmutter, who's from Iowa, which means that not all inventions happen in Silicon Valley. This one happened in Iowa. And he created the sliced bread in 1912 and sold zero for 15 years. Didn't sell one. In all fairness to Otto, he did sell one to a friend at a bakery, but sold none. So the phrase we know as easy as sliced bread for poor Otto was not so easy. But experts like yourselves, this time they happen to be with Wonder Bread, said, you know, what's missing here is market segmentation. Who needs a bread slicer? And so they segmented the market. Bakeries might need bread slicers. Moms might need bread slicers. Supermarkets might need bread slicers. They looked at the market, identified the pain points, and blew it out of the market. So everything we know today about bread slicing and the phrase was not for poor Otto, but for Wonder Bread and what they did in marketing. So I'm going to land the plane and explain what the applicability of that with, we've got some concepts right now that are new. But it's my bet that in a couple of years, you will all be saying at the HMN conference in 2018, wow, it's as easy as DMD doing that. That's my bet. So let's see what happens. All right, so marketing challenges. We've just talked about CRM and the promises of CRM. On the consumer side, you've got CRM, direct mail, learning, starting to do some email, starting to do outreach. The website, utilizing your website for your consumer outreach. We want to apply those same thing on the physician side. So PRM, the Physician Relationship Management Program, and the promises of what that can be, and the affiliated, your different types of doctors, how you target them, how you're working with them, and then your website, and using your website as an acquisition tool. Before I continue, are there any French speakers in the audience? Nice. So you're probably familiar with this, which is a French phrase for, haven't we heard this crap before? And it has nothing to do with the tea leaves or health grades folks or anything along those lines. It's, hey, let's jump forward now. All right, so we've got the same tools that we've been working. We've agreed we're going to apply those on the consumer side, but let's move forward. So I want to show you a video. I'm going to need help here. Mind-blowing, about 2 minutes on DMD. so glad that worked. Most times, a lot of times it doesn't. I just think in 2 minutes, I appreciate you watching, in 2 minutes you can kind of learn a lot. So what is this sliced bread technology? It's what every single one of us has. I didn't bring mine up. It's email. And it sounds so basic, but email is literally, I'm going to use a healthcare phrase, the connective tissue for communications. For your physicians today, it's their preferred means of getting communication. Take a step, walk with your physician liaisons. They are challenged to get into the offices of the physicians that you want to target. So your high utilizers, those splitters that you want to get more loyal to, the outreach that you want to grab and to grow your referral market. They have the same challenges that marketing, that med device, everybody's banging on those doors, and they're very difficult to get into. But physicians are just like us. They carry these devices with them. I mean, the device, it's no secret, it is their mobile office. It is where they get their information from pharma. It is where they're communicating with their office. It's where they're communicating with themselves, or not with themselves, but with family, friends, et cetera. And the best part is, it's their preferred means of communication, meaning it's asynchronous. So instead of having to set aside time where liaisons or marketing reps come in and just show up and throw up on them for a little while, they can look at this anytime they want to. They can look at it not on the ride home, because that's, of course, illegal in Georgia, but when they get home in the morning, anytime like that, they can see your information when they want to see it. The best part, too, it's mobile, fully trackable. So just like we heard with Tea Leaves about the promises of CRM and the ability to measure, you can track, not only track how many opens, but specifically who opened, who clicked through, who did something with the information. And the first day, Amy and the lady from SPM, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, talked about brand, building your brands, building your growth, your engagement, and your loyalty, just like you're doing on your consumer side. And I love the way she phrased this. This was Amy from Emory. Your physicians are your brand. They literally are the brand that's connecting to your patients every day. And you want to reinforce what that brand message means with the people that are actually doing it. So it's building the brand side. On the growth side, it's the referral channel. They have the ability to channel patients to your facility or other facilities. So it's building that growth side. Engagement is as you have announcements, as you have developments, as things are happening. Yesterday, Aubrey talked about the Augusta brand revamping. And I thought, boy, it's a perfect way to instantly, with a push of a button, they could have blasted that out, to the whole country, but to their referring community and their potential, their primary service area, secondary, tertiary, et cetera. It's so easy because it's digital. And then loyalty. Just exactly like you're doing on the consumer side, making you aware of a mammography campaign, and then getting the women to join and to start taking advantage and becoming members of your healthcare system. Those are your physicians as well. So all the same tools and tactics that are working on the consumer side have direct applicability on the physician side. So when you're looking at your channel, email, so we've all agreed it's brilliant, and that's a drop the mic moment. But not all email is the same. So there's like 5 things I want you to think about when you think about email. One is coverage. Okay, so where DMD, this is now the plug section, where DMD separates itself is we have 3.5 million email addresses. Kind of gross, but that's all we do. We're into email. Now, there's not that many doctors, so why do we have so many? So we have multiple email addresses on multiple physicians. We have about 93% of the US physicians, we have multiple emails on them, which means it's not scraped emails from claims data or pulled off the web. It's where they've preferred to get communications. Meaning, so what does that mean to you? It means when you send an email to Dr. Smith, it gets to Dr. Smith. It doesn't get to their front office that may open it or scan it or get rid of it. We also are building out, we've got about 80% of nurse practitioners, PAs, and RNs, and we're building out that side. There's about 3 million nurses in the US, and they're much more mobile than physicians, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So coverage, you want to be able to get who you want to get. The next thing is quality. We actually went out to, a lot of people don't know who BPA is, but BPA is like the Nielsen rating of subscriptions. So think about like when the Wall Street Journal says they have 1 million subscribers, companies like BPA actually audit that to say, yes, that's a real number. So we decided, hey, we're gonna go boast about these numbers that we have We want somebody to put the stamp on that it's a real number. So these are validated by a third party. So we've got coverage, we've got the quality, and then service, the white glove type service. Email is our core, and we recognize it's not necessarily your core. In fact, I think a lot of us feel like we get too many emails. So what we do is we look at it, we do about 40 million emails a month. So let that number sink in. Just to think about, that's only healthcare emails. So you can imagine how many emails are actually going out. But we do 40 million a month. But we help our clients make sure that your email, one, reaches its audience, two, it's responsive design so that no matter what the platform is, tablets, desktops, Androids, iOS, that it gets there and it's readable. We will help you with that. Wherever you are on the continuum. A lot of agencies already kind of do this. We can take that and help with the deployment, but we will white glove and handhold you through the process. So coverage, quality, service, and then experience. Like I say, 40 million a month. You don't need to look at the specifics, but what we have and we'll help you, just again, like with CRM, we know when surgeons like to look at their emails, and it's different than pediatricians, which is different than NPs. And so we can optimize the deployment, meaning when those emails are sent out so that we can maximize the read and opens on those. And then finally, the authentication. This is a really big deal because this is when you send a message to a physician or your target audience, you want to know it got there. And some of competitors are doing what they call scraping, which you can go to claims and just pull email addresses, but you're not necessarily reaching who you want to reach. So we really pride ourselves, whoops, wrong buttons. We really pride ourselves on everything is authenticated and opted in. That's another big thing, so I want you to recognize that we're not flooding your physicians with emails that they don't want. They've opted in to receive these. So where might you use these? I used to work at HealthGrade, so I'm reticent to mention the USN company because it's a competitor, but US News. So when you want to blast out either your successes or when you're doing your survey of your awareness of your capabilities, email is a great and efficient and inexpensive way to let the world know your capabilities. Let your physician and your referring physicians know what you're capable of. Newsletters, this is part of that engagement strategy of, again, it's announcing. We just got a new Da Vinci, we just opened up a new urgent care center, et cetera, letting them know what's happening in your market, especially in these days of rapid consolidation. The physicians in the periphery may not know all the capabilities within. Alumni outreach, I think of this a lot, again, I don't see Aubrey, but with a lot of the AMCs. So the academic medical centers, you have a phenomenal alumni base, and they're loyal to you. And they move across the country, depending on where they do residency and where they may be working. We can help you target them. They're your best funding for when you want to do outreach and funding efforts because they do have that loyalty program. CME programs, so continuing medical education, physician recruitment, and just plain old business development with the physician liaison. So everything that you're doing on the consumer side has direct applicability on the physician side. So now that's our core business. But I also want to kind of take a step into the future. And I think there's a little bit of a creepy slide, but what it tells you is what we don't know. So where DMD differentiates itself is, like I said, we have this authenticated base of physicians. So we have 92% of the physicians in the country, and we know what's called deterministically who they are. We've also been tagging their devices. So when we send an email, we put a tag on their device. That's how we know that they opened it, what they did with it. Well, we have about 700,000 of our base that have these tags on them. Now we know because we can set up readers on websites when they come to the website. So the days of not having any idea of being probabilistic become deterministic. So I'm just going to blast through this for a second. So now we have the ability to know that Dr. Timothy Byun came to your website, what he did on your website, and then actually, how long he was on there, when he left, et cetera. Why does this matter? What's the applicability? This is the sliced bread part of things. So we work with big pharma and we work with medical device. They love this because what they do is they create professional sites. So we'll just use Viagra because it's a funny example. They have a professional Viagra site and they have a consumer Viagra site. Consumers obviously for folks that are curious about it, and the professional is to talk about dosages and things like that. So the assumption when they build these two sites is doctors go to this site, consumers go to this site. Now they know. Now they know, and they've been blown away. They've been blown away with the professional site. It's not all doctors. A lot of pharmacists go to the consumer site, a lot of nurses, and a lot of consumers go to the pro site. And they want to know why. If you've ever seen a pro pharmacy site, professional site, it's just like in a magazine when you see the ad that you skip over because it's all the detail. Picture that on a website. It's not user-friendly at all. But they want to know, like, why are these people going on? What are they doing on there? They can also tell, remember I think someone talked about yesterday, heat mapping of what someone's doing. So now they know that Dr. Timothy Byung, maybe not with hematology, well, who knows, he's going on the Viagra site, what he's looking at. Is he looking at dosages? Is he looking at reimbursement? Is he looking at contraindications? Because now they can set up that experience that they can target when he comes on to make sure that it's fulfilling for him. And then on the consumer side, they're seeing a lot of physicians, and they're trying to figure out why. So land the plane, we think there's opportunity with y'all as well, which is to use your website as a tool for brand growth, brand engagement, brand loyalty by knowing deterministically